He has maybe one of the most aggressive rehab plans that we've seen in a while.
No, I'm not surprised because I was in America during this preseason of hype for Aaron Rodgers, and I just feel bad for Jets fans because if you're buying this just like you bought the entire month of August and that fluff film that was Hard Knocks.
Oh no!
I mean, come on, Jets, you're like the tackling dummies of the NFL. You're going to believe again now that Aaron Rodgers is coming back for the playoffs? I mean, come on, how many times do you have to get your hopes up and then get completely blindsided?
Okay.
There's no way this is happening. Well, 0.0 chance.
You are now going to be part of the chorus of haters that Aaron Rodgers says, or doubters, not haters, doubters that he says that's all the inspiration he needs. People like Perloff, who said there's no possible way that he could come back. And honestly, you can add me to the mix, too. I think this sounds really crazy that he would be able to possibly come back for the playoffs this season, as a future almost 40-year-old coming off of an Achilles. Let's hear a little bit from Rodgers. Here's what he had to say to Pat McAfee about his rehab.
I think what I'd like to say is, give me the doubts. Give me the timetables. Give me all the things that you think can, should, or will happen. Because all I need is that one little extra % of inspiration. That's all I need. So give me your doubts. Give me your prognostications. And then watch what I do.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
What do you say to that, Perloff?
I say this must be a millennial thing. Because if you're inspired by the doubters and the haters, why do you have to go out and tell the doubters and haters before, be inspired and work out and then say, old school, like the old Pittsburgh Steelers teams, they used to bring up the doubters and haters after they won the Super Bowl, not before in week 2.
Yeah, right. Like Coco Gauff, who said, I want to thank all my haters when she's raising the trophy.
Be inspired by the haters. You don't have to come out and say I'm inspired by the haters when you're sitting in a hospital bed. He didn't even need the haters. He's like, I want some haters. I don't know. That
bring
struck
me your haters. Come one, come all.
But I mean, come on.
Soliciting haters.
I'm not going to. I bought into the Aaron Rodgers thing in August. I admit it. I was like, oh my God, this could be awesome. His attitude's amazing. He has such chemistry with his team. I will never buy into a Jets quarterback again the rest of my life. Maybe next year.
Snake bitten.
Next year he'll come back, which is great, which is a huge achievement in itself. But to raise his expectation of him coming back this year is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Well, let's hear him talking specifically about that.
There's been some guys with some interesting timetables on Achilles returns, but it's just there's a process. There's certain markers we got to hit.
You trying to say you're coming back this season?
I'm not gonna make any of those statements.
Is it a possibility?
I think, as Kevin Garnett said, anything's possible.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you look at Cam Akers came back after about 5.5 months. Cam Akers is 20 years younger than Aaron Rodgers, and that was an incredible achievement. Terrell Suggs came back after 5 months, and people thought that was a miracle. 5 months puts you after the season.
Yeah, I mean, his last game of the regular season will be January 7th, which is a little bit less than 4 months away.
Yeah.
So that does seem unlikely. I'm a little nervous because I'm afraid this is going to get clipped by our producer and played when Aaron Rodgers does actually come back. But it seems so crazy and impossible to me. And it just makes me think, you know what? He's like a pro wrestler. He's just feeding like McAfee, of course, was in the WWE.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's just feeding lines into the universe. That's like, it was all lies coming into the season. We saw 4 plays in that the Jets experiment was a disaster. So I just think even if he does come back, he'll probably go out at 3 plays later.
Oh, no.
This is such a cursed situation. But don't you feel stupid about how hyped it? Like, I mean, Mike jumped off the entire Jets bandwagon after 5 plays because it looked awful.
That's because Mike is, turns out, fair weather fan after 40 years of your life. But here's the thing. I don't know why this would be any different from just being a Jets fan regularly. But here's the thing. I think what he was doing here was a very specific message and maybe a little for his own mental, hey, I'm going to get back. He admitted that he was sobbing tears when he was in the back of the stadium, like in the trainer's room after this happened Monday night. And as soon as Randall Cobb came in, apparently he just totally lost it. And there's like a human part of this for sure. But I think he's sending a message to the rest of the team. Like, you can't pack in the season because there's maybe a possibility that I could come back. But I also think Rodgers has a little bit maybe of a savior complex and loved that about New York, that he was treated like a savior with the Jets fans and wants the hero's welcome. He wants, forgive me for the New York reference, but everyone's like chasing a Willis Reed moment, like that he comes in hobbling and leads the team to a championship.
I am going to choose to ignore that message if that's what he's sending out, because he sent 45 messages in the preseason, and none of those messages meant a single thing. They meant nothing.
He got hurt.
All the love, all the good vibes. I mean, it was just a bunch of crap. I mean, it meant nothing, and that's why I don't even buy into all this. Aaron Rodgers, I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan, actually, but this comeback talk,
I don't
know
it.
Well, I mean, I just think I've always liked Aaron Rodgers, but I feel like he is just like, it's hyperbole. It's sort of meaningless. He almost sounds like he's trying to convince himself. But the reality of NFL football is so stark, and that's reality. I'm mad at myself for buying into the Jets. I picked them to win the AFC East.
Yeah.
I was totally all in. That maybe I feel betrayed.
Back off my quarterback.
But now he's saying he's going to be back in 4.5 months from an Achilles tear.
Sorry, Santer, you're off. You can't get back on the bandwagon if Rodgers pulls some miracle thing.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never not been a Jets fan.
Yeah, right.
I've never left.
And when he goes to Germany and goes get his blood spun or whatever Kobe Bryant was doing back when he tore his Achilles, I'm sure Rodgers is going to do it, double. I guess I think that... I think, again, he's trying to convince a lot of people. And he also said that when he does get back to New York and he is able to move around a little bit, which is not the case right now, he can't put any weight on his leg, that he does want to maybe get a headset so that possibly he can have some input on calling plays for the Jets this season.
You're telling me Aaron Rodgers wants to speak into a microphone during the season? That's
even
weird.
when not for broadcast. That's what just like, only other coaches can hear that.
I will tell you one thing that is encouraging. If he's realistically even talking about 5 months, then I feel a lot better. I admit, and maybe I'm falling for it again. I feel better he'll be back next year.
I think he's going to be back next year. The problem is there's a reality, too. Like, no one doubts his determination. No one doubts that he's going to have the best care. No one doubts any of that. But, like, what is the reality of a 40-year-old coming off an Achilles? Like, the thing about Brady is he kept himself so healthy that he just had to deal with sort of getting older. He never had to deal with getting older and rehabbing off of something. And so
his major injury was way in 2008
younger.
Or something.
And he's like, so Rodgers said, I want to, just because something hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done. That's a direct quote. And he's trying to obliterate this timeline. I wish him luck.
Can I fast forward to April? If the Jets aren't good, say they end up with a number 12 pick in the draft, and this is a heavy quarterback draft, and Michael Penix or somebody is sitting there.
Yeah.
He's also injured all the time. But what if the quarterback is sitting there? We're going to be having this debate all spring. Do you draft a guy to sit behind Rodgers when he comes back?
Yeah, first of all, it probably depends on how Zach Wilson looks. If there's somehow Zach Wilson looks like the second overall pick, then maybe that clears it up. But I think Rodgers is not going to want any part of that. Look at how determined. You might think it's eyewash, maybe it is, but how determined he sounded, from a hospital bed, basically doing this interview. He's not going to want the Jets to spend a first-round pick on something that he's going to be long gone for. Even if he can understand it intellectually, he's going to say, "Did you see the pass rusher for the Patriots who's a rookie? Like, this guy's impacting plays. Get me somebody who can actually impact while I'm here, and you're all in to win with me now."
I mean, we've seen that movie before in Green Bay.
I know, and I don't think he wants that same old thing again.
But I don't think he's going to be able to avoid it. I think that's going to be a real. It's such a love fest with the Jets. I would love if it went just for the drama, like get your popcorn. If there's a fight between management and Aaron Rodgers in the offseason about this,
so he can pretend to retire again or think about it.
Well, I think he's going to follow the Favre steps and be somewhere else down the road, too.
That'd be interesting. I mean, the Jets are so all in on him. I mean, the one thing about Rodgers, and this is good, that he said he's going to be doing McAfee's show every Tuesday, so we're still going to get weekly updates on Aaron Rodgers' rehab for, however interested you are in the blow-by-blow of that. But it still doesn't solve the acute problem here, which is if Rodgers has any designs on actually coming back this season, again, that seems like a crazy long shot. What are they going to do at quarterback now?
Yeah.
Because you watched Kirk Cousins last night. It was a name that's been floated around quite a bit. And the Vikings are 0-2, and Kirk Cousins is a lame duck quarterback. It never happens where he's a guy who people believe is a competent quarterback. He might not be elite, but he's clearly a starter in this league and a high-level one. The fact that he doesn't have a contract after this year could line up perfectly where the Jets are at.
Oh, first of all, it's the third time in his career he's been a lame duck quarterback.
Well, those are franchise tags, before he really proved himself.
Washington
he
let him
chose
go
the second time because he knew he was going to get a massive payday. Ironically, took less money to go to Minnesota and not go to the Jets.
Can we make I am so confident Kirk Cousins not going to the Jets. I'm positive. And again, don't clip this if he does go to the Jets. There is no way this is happening for... Actually, we should save it. I know we have to break, but there's at least 5 good reasons Kirk Cousins will not be a Jet. And the fact that people are talking about this just shows there's so much lunacy around this one franchise.
Give us the biggest reason he's not going to be a Jet.
Well, he has a no-trade clause, and I don't know why he would want to come play for Nathaniel Hackett.
Okay, well, maybe not, but just to think about it, you say the Jets somehow pull off an upset of Dallas this week, right?
Yeah.
It's not crazy impossible. They could do it.
They go 2-0 with Zach Wilson, yeah.
Okay, they go 2-0 with Zach Wilson, but say Wilson still doesn't have a very impressive game. Say the defense forces a couple, pick six or whatever, and it's really more the defense. Then do you start thinking, well, all right, say the Vikings lose next week to the Chargers. Totally possible. And now the Vikings start 0-3. The Vikings need a future at the quarterback position. They might be a team that actually wants to start having designs on Caleb Williams or Drake May or someone like that. You got Justin Jefferson out here breaking records, feels like every game. Last night, he eclipsed 5,000 yards in only 52 games. He's tied for the fastest in the history of the NFL. I mean, he's amazing. You can't, you got to figure out who's going to be throwing passes to him in the future.
Well, first of all, Kirk Cousins is a wide receiver yard machine. I mean, Diggs went to town with him, too. Cousins throws a very catchable ball. But that's not reason. Basically, the Vikings, though, they haven't even started their NFC North schedule. At what point are they going to mail it in? And they've never mailed it in before. They have so many stars. I'm not sure I could see that. In the NFC North, you're telling me they're going to find a way to lose to the Bears twice to get Caleb Williams?
I don't know about. Might be hard. You got to commit to the tank. 855-212-4CBS.
I mean, they kind of outplayed the Eagles last night.
They made it a game last night.
They had 4 fumbles, and Kirk Cousins threw for almost 400 yards and 4 TDs. That's a tanking team? It seems odd to me.
No, it's not yet. It's not yet. But at some point, you have to put the future of the organization. If they don't re-sign Cousins, what is the future for them at quarterback? These are massive questions. And
free agent or draft?
And free agent, though, that can be tough. And you do have Jefferson, who's awesome, and Jordan Addison looked amazing again.
So even if you keep Cousins, just draft a quarterback next year. What's the problem?
I get the sense that Cousins and the Vikings, that this is it.
Yeah. This is the end of the road. So next year, just draft a new quarterback and play him.
Where are you drafting him?
Probably 10, 11, 12.
I don't know if they're going to be up that high. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227, unless they commit a little bit more. Because you're right, they're going to be playing the Bears. They'll probably end up splitting with the Lions and with Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, they're not a terrible team. They should have won week 1. They had a crazy red zone thing against the Bucs. It totally blew that game. Last year they were lucky. This year they've been unlucky, but that's going to even out. They lost 4 fumbles last night.